Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Student Success Workshop series. This was a workshop that we did on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, from 12 to 1 p.m. in the Learning Collaboratory or UC 115. And we're here to recap it for you now. So, this is kind of an overview of what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the month, actually, in the TLC workshop. So, the workshop today is called Chaos Isn't a Major, A Student's Guide to the Future. So, we're going to talk a bunch about things that you can do to kind of prepare for your future. And you can learn more about all of these things if you keep coming back to our workshops this month. And we will, at the end of this, tell you which workshops are coming up. If you're watching this kind of like around the time that we actually post it and not many months into the future. So today we're going to do research, volunteer clinical work, supplemental advising, which covers a lot of things, career center, and clubs and orgs. So let's get started. Lots of people are interested in getting some research experience on campus as undergraduates. So there are a lot of reasons for this: grad school, pre-professional school, like medical, dental, PA, just like interested in working in science and just want to kind of know how research works. So curiosity. But, generally what you need research experience for is future pursuits academically, whether that's grad school, professional school, or you just want to have a career in research in a lab. So how do you get involved with research on campus? This is a little bit of a trickier thing. So you actually have to take initiative. You don't just get handed a research opportunity. They're not handing them out to everybody because there's a lot of students who want them, but there are limited spots, for research lab assistants on campus. So you have to take some initiative here. So we're going to tell you how to do that. Uh, One way you can do it is go to your program's main webpage and click on the research tab. So let's say you're in the biology department. If you go to biology.umbc.edu, you'll see across the top of the page, underneath the kind of main picture heading, there are a bunch of other smaller headings that are all in a line, and one of them is research. Just click on that. You're going to get, if most in most cases, you're going to get a bunch of categories: cell biology, developmental biology, etc. Um, so just go into each one or start with the one that interests you the most. And then, make a list of professors whose labs look interesting to you. So read more about each lab, click on that professor's page, and look at the kind of work that they're doing specifically in that lab. Now, keep in mind that um, you do not need to be doing research in a lab that exactly aligns with your current research interests. So, first of all, your research interests might change, but what you're basically doing as an undergraduate research assistant is some pretty busy work. You're not, creating research questions and being the PI. That's the professor's job. You are there to kind of help out, make sure that everything runs smoothly, help out with experiments, record things, and, have lab skills. So, kind of basic lab skills in biology or chemistry or physics are going to be very transferable. So, then you can reach out to these professors via email. Give them a little overview of who you are, just a paragraph that you can copy and paste into each email that you send, because you're going to send a lot more than one. Um, and tell them, this is, who I am, maybe your GPA if it's good, and then how many classes you've kind of taken in science. So like, I have taken Chem 102 lab, or I have taken Chem 351 lab. That's relevant, and any other research experience you have. And then in the next paragraph, explain why you want to work in their lab. So do a little bit of digging on like what they actually do in their lab and why that's interesting to you. Tell them why that's interesting to you. Be genuine. Maybe even read a little bit of one of their research papers, because it is actually, nice to show that you've done that. And usually on their webpage, they'll have them listed, and they should be accessible to you through the UMBC library. So, check those out. Just kind of see what their experiments are about, all that kind of thing. Um, and then you can also use your networking skills. Like if you have friends who work in labs on campus, you can ask them if there are openings for research assistants in those labs. You can also go to office hours and talk to your professors there. If they know of other professors on campus who are looking for research assistants, they can connect you to those professors or tell you that those professors are looking so that you can email them directly. And if you're reaching out to professors via email, you should keep in mind that not all of them are going to get back to you. I have a lot of students who tell me I reached out to 10 professors and 9 of them ignored me and didn't respond at all. You might get some responses of no, you might get some responses of, um, I really only am looking for graduate student assistance, or I'm so sorry, like my lab is full. Can you try again in a year? You might get, well, you can work in my lab after you take Chem 351 lab or Bio 302 or something. They may want you to have a certain skill set. Um, and you might get a, hey, yeah, why don't you come in next week for an interview? So if you get no responses, that's okay. You can reach out again in a couple weeks. It might just be a really busy time for them. But don't, keep reaching out to the same professors 10 times. Just get a different list and email those professors and keep throwing spaghetti at the wall until something sticks. That is a metaphor, but it applies to this. So, keep trying until you get something. Okay, now let's talk about volunteering or clinical work. So it's really important to gain experience in the field that you want to pursue, and you can be creative here. A lot of pre med students, for instance, do EMT training and EMT certification. You can actually work as an EMT. You get your hours this way, but you also get paid. It's also something you can do if you're taking a gap year to apply to schools or you want to work over the summer or something. It's a great experience. You can get paid. You can do EMT training and certification, by the way, here at UMBC in 2 EDHS classes. They always offer them during the summer and then also during the regular semester. And you can also take these classes at a community college if for financial reasons that's easier for you, especially in the summer. This is a great opportunity. And if you want, you can take those classes at a community college. And if you fill out a verification of transferability form for UMBC, you can even transfer them to UMBC and get credit for them here as well, and they can go onto your transcript and count towards your total 120 credits to graduate. You can also volunteer at an addiction center, for instance. You will learn so much. So, if you want to work in the emergency room, for instance, this is an amazing place to work because you're going to learn about what it's like to actually interact with people who are, experiencing this incredible distress, perhaps withdrawal symptoms or something like that, and understand what you're going to be actually working with, in emergency rooms someday and say like, is this for me? I think that this is really powerful and something that I do want to do, or you might think this is really stressful and I don't know if I really want to do this every day for my job. So it might give you some insight into um, you know, whether or not you really want to do something every day, but it'll also really help you understand like you are making a difference in this world by doing something like this and really seeing the difference, which can be really, really helpful when you're in school in the thick of it and you're just like really focused on yourself. And that can be really hard for people. You know, it's hard to understand why it's important to do something like focus on school when you don't see it making a difference in the world. And so finding a way to do that is helpful. Another way you can do that, tutor kids at a school. We have a program for this through the Shiver Center. So you can go tutor kids at a middle school and understand the difference you're making in the world every day and why it's important for you to work so hard in your classes and succeed so that you can do things like this for other people, even if it's not tutoring. Seeing the difference that you make in the world can be very, very powerful and important. You can shadow a doctor, PA, a pharmacist, a nurse, excuse me, a social worker, or researcher, or whatever you want to be. Ask someone that you know, or go to the Shriver Center and, set something up there through a hospital or something. But it's important to actually go to work and see what a day is like in the life of a PA or a social worker, a researcher, nurse, any of these things. Um, Maybe a dentist if you're pre-dental. See if like that's kind of what you want to do with your day. Like a job, that's a lot. You're going to do that every single day. So go to work with someone and see if that's actually something that you enjoy. Do you get joy out of that? Does it make you feel fulfilled? Or does it make you really stressed out? It's going to tell you a lot about what you want to do with your life. You could be a dental assistant at a front desk or a scribe at the hospital. These are paid positions. You're going to see a lot. You're going to understand the ins and outs of this job, that kind of thing. This is important. It can be very powerful and it can also get you some clinical hours. It is also a paid position. So that can also be great for people. You could do something like volunteer with older adults. The Shriver Center has several programs for this. There's one particular one where you help older adults in like water aerobics classes and water therapy classes. And that's one of those things where if you're applying to medical school, for instance, and an admissions committee is looking over what your experience is compared to other people's experience, if you have on there that you volunteered with older adults in an aqua fit class, that really shows commitment. That shows like you really went in there and did an experience that really was helpful to people, and it kind of shows your engagement with this field as a whole of like service and helping and making people's lives easier. And that's very powerful on an application. So think about that too. Why do you want to be a doctor? Um, Hopefully to help people. And this would show something like, I'm very committed to helping people. So something like that can be very helpful too. Okay, let's talk about supplemental advising. So, the first example of this, there are several examples. They're not all related to pre health. But let's say you're in a pre health or allied health major or program. Um, you know, you can go and talk to the pre health advising team or an allied health advisor for your specific allied health field. They will help you do a couple things, actually, many things. They'll help you understand prerequisites in terms of courses. They'll also help you create a 4-year plan. So, when will you take those exams like the MCAT, the DAT, or the pre, you know, X exam, whatever kind of exam you need to take, the GRE perhaps. If that's necessary, they're going to help you figure out a timeline and which classes you need to take before you take those exams. They're also going to help you figure out other experience. Do you need clinical experience? Do you need shadowing? Do you need volunteer experience? And they're going to help you figure out how you can get that experience and make a plan to get it, and like the number of hours that you need and that kind of thing, as well as like getting together your applications and understanding the application cycle. Is very important to meet with this type of advisor if you are in a pre-health or allied health program. You might be in a minor, and that minor is kind of related to your field, but you want to make sure that you're taking classes in the minor that are getting you the experience that you want in that field. So it might help to go and talk to a departmental advising with a professor from your minor. Departmental advising from minor advisors is not necessary. You just have to meet with your major advisor to get clearance to register for your classes next semester. But maybe once or twice having a meeting with the departmental advisor with a professor from your minor, um, that could be very helpful just in terms of guiding you in what you actually are trying to get out of your minor and why you're there, and make sure that you're taking the classes to kind of build your experience as necessary. Another thing that counts as supplemental advising here would be maybe the career center. Again, this is a kind of volunteer thing. Like you have to volunteer to go to the career center. No one's going to require you to do it. None of this stuff is required, supplemental advising, but it's all kind of helpful and can be very necessary in some cases. In the Career Center, you can do a lot of things. You can talk about your major, you can search for internships, prepare for interviews, and polish up your resume. We'll talk a little bit more in a couple slides about the Career Center and all of the specific things they do, but they do count as supplemental advising, and they can be very amazing for you as people to have in your network to make sure that you are on the right track. They are not just there for graduating seniors, they are there for everybody. So, the other thing, this kind of covers a lot, is other programs. Study abroad might be part of supplemental advising. If you're interested in study abroad, you should go to the study abroad information session. They offer these all the time and they are virtual. So make sure you visit the study abroad website and check out the things that they have on offer in terms of programs. Maybe if you're a STEM student, figuring out, could I go in a winter or summer for study abroad, or could I go for a semester? Would that work? Making sure that you talk about that with the study abroad advisors. That's great. Summer programs, let's say you're pre med or you want to do research or something, and you want to get some experience doing research or something related to your field at another university, there are lots of summer programs. So if you're in pre health, maybe talking to the pre health advising team to understand what some of the summer programs are that could be beneficial to you that you could apply to, and understanding when the applications are due and how to apply to them. Or if you are interested in research, perhaps connecting with your professors in that field to understand what kind of summer programs are available. That can be very helpful. You might be thinking of upper year scholarship programs, like for students in junior and senior year who want to get more into research. There are often scholarships available which will support you financially in school, but could also be very helpful in terms of networking, meeting people that are, in the field, giving you some research experience, that kind of thing that's just kind of in place for you there. Um, Again, something to talk about with either your advisor or your pre-health or allied health advisor. But just note that like those things exist and you can get connected to them through supplemental advising. Okay, the Career Center. As promised, we're going to talk about this for a minute to just go through some of the specific services they offer. Again, there are more than this, and I will add the Career Center's appointment page in the description box of this video. Um, but it is important to know about these ones. So they have drop-in resume and cover letter help every afternoon, at least Monday through Thursday from 2 to 4. So if you're looking for some resume help or cover letter help, you just want to kind of get it looked over and maybe get some advice on that, you can drop in. You can also make an appointment to do this with a career advisor on the appointment page, which again, down in the description box. You can have a one-on-one meeting with a career counselor to talk about anything you might want to do with your future. They talk about a lot of things. You could just talk about what you're majoring in. You could talk about, job search strategies, interview prep. Like I said a couple slides ago, they'll talk to you about a lot of things, and you can build a relationship and continue to network with that person, whoever it is. They'll connect you with somebody who's related to your major. um, Personality tests to help you understand your strengths and interests and values. These are personality tests like Focus 2 and Myers-Briggs, that are not free to most people, but if you take them through UMBC, they are free. We pay for this service at UMBC so that you can take them. And then you can have a conversation with a career counselor to talk about the results and like what this means. And what does this mean in terms of what you want to do every day? It's not going to tell you you should be a biochemical engineer. It's going to tell you, here are some values that you have and some things that you are strong at and maybe your weaker points. And so, like, you would really thrive in this type of environment at work. And then this can really help guide your understanding of where you want your career to go. This is very helpful. There are also big career fairs every semester where you can meet folks from a lot of companies at once. This might be obviously most beneficial to somebody who's graduating soon and is looking for a job. That person might attend wearing, a nice business casual outfit, handing out resumes to these recruiters and acting very professionally. You might be a first year and you just walk by on your way out of the rack because they're usually holding these in the rack and you just kind of want to walk through. That's fine. You should just get a sense for like what it is and what's going on and what other people are doing who are looking for real jobs at this point. Because this will guide you in like, how do I want to experience this career fair later on when I'm actually getting ready to apply and be on the job market. You can also attend smaller networking events for specific colleges and or majors. So what will help you the most to understand what's going on at the Career Center in terms of these events is to join their MyUMBC group. I will drop that in the description box as well, so you can add that to your um, groups that you get notifications for through MyOMBC, and you can get the emails of each different event. If they're not relevant to you, you can just delete them. But if they're relevant, you can say, oh, there's an event about this, and maybe add it to your calendar. And then they even do site visits to different companies. So you can kind of catch the vibes there, network a little bit, understand like what they actually do and what you would do all day if you worked there. Career Center is amazing. That's the bottom line. And you should start engaging with them as early as possible because this will really help you get on track for a good future. And then clubs and orgs. So you should consider joining both professional and social or cultural clubs and orgs on campus for a lot of reasons. Um, it's mainly to make friends, honestly, but like stick to just a few. Don't spread yourself too thin. If you want to do some professional ones, that's really helpful in terms of like networking, learning about the field, meeting other people in your major that you could even study with or connect with, ask questions of if they're students who are more advanced than you. But don't do like 10 or 15 clubs. Stick to a few, maybe one professional and a social or cultural one or both, or a active one. Maybe you love rock climbing and you want to join the climbing club, or you've never done that before but you think you might want to try. That's important. It's interesting. So genuinely commit, make friends, be part of this group. This leads to leadership roles and opportunities. This is very important when you're applying to jobs and professional school, grad school, whatever, leadership roles show that you have a genuine commitment to sticking with something over a longer period of time. This is a very attractive quality to have. So if you can be in a club or an org long enough to have a leadership position, that's really good for your resume in terms of interviewing. If somebody asks you, have you ever held a leadership role and what did you learn from that? You'll have learned a lot if you have taken a leadership role. Okay, so office hours. Why do you attend office hours? There are several reasons. They might be asking for help with coursework. That's a great reason. Um, and if you attend to ask for help with coursework, you might see other students there and you might be able to form a study group with those students. Maybe that might be a nice thing to do. You can ask general questions about the field. So, like questions about grad school, maybe, or professional careers in the field. Maybe you have questions about research. Maybe you have questions about how to become a professor. Anything. You could discuss research opportunities. Like I said earlier, the professor might know other people on campus who have research opportunities available to you, even if they don't. You can ask questions about grad school or future plans. Okay, I already said this, but this is important. You can get a lot of help understanding kind of what it takes to get there and what you can expect when you get there, all that kind of thing. You can get to know the professor and let them get to know you. That's also really helpful because you're going to eventually need to ask for recommendation letters. And if you know some professors, especially if you know them well, they will be able to write you fantastic recommendation letters, especially if you've taken a class with them. So this can be really helpful for you. So, thank you for watching. And coming up this month, we have a few more sessions. We've got a Fulbright session next week that will not be run by our specific success office, but will be run by CNMS Advising. So you'll see some cross promotion for that. ERCAD, the Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day, will be on the 16th of April. And we will not be having a regular event that day because we'd rather highlight the ERCAD presenters. And if you are interested in going to ERCAD but you don't want to go by yourself, come down to UC 115 and one of us will take you through ERCAD, um, and hang out with you for that hour and we can walk around and see what's going on and have some amazing snacks. The 23rd, that we'll have a Career Center intro with Adam Morris, who is our CNMS liaison. You don't want to miss that. He is an awesome person to have in your network. And then on the 30th, we'll have a research panel with STEM professors, which will probably be our biggest event of the semester. So come check out some of the rest of these events, and we will see you at our next one. Thanks for watching.